Welcome to the Retro Relapse podcast, episode number 2. I am recording today with my friend Justin again. Justin, say hi.
Hey.
All right, Mike. I'm recording with my friend Mike as well. He lives in Florida, and he is a member of the Navy. Mike, go ahead and say hi.
How you guys doing?
All right, and our topic for this episode is going to be the hardest, the worst, and the guilty pleasures of video gaming. And the reason why I stress to say that is because some games that we all play are extremely hard. Other ones are absolutely downright horrible, and then other ones, are so bad that we love them. And we've pretty much got together some games for our lists together of pretty much all three of these categories. Now, when we're going to talk, the way we're going to talk about these is we're going to talk about the hard and worst in one category. So if we mention, for example, a game like Super Metroid or Contra, we'll talk about it mainly because it's hard, not because of how bad it is, because it's not a bad game. It's obviously a classic. So I'm going to tone down this music now so we can get to the subject. All right, and Mike, would you like to start on one of your games that you got on your list?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start. Let's see. Let's start with Pac-Man. Pac-Man was a game that came out in 1980. It was later released that year in America. As some people know, it came out. It's pretty much considered one of the best spin-offs of any video game ever, as in it had the most legal spin-offs. It had up to over 30. It even had its own TV series that ran for one season too. But as a lot of you know, Pac-Man is the game where you control a circle that looks like a puck. In Japan, it was actually Puck-Man. And you control it around a maze, and you get little pellets or power pellets, and you have to ward off the 4 ghosts that will chase after you. The game actually is built to be an infinite game, so it has 255. It's meant to keep going on forever, but at level 255, that's pretty much the max that anyone can ever get to. There was I don't know if you guys know, there was a bugging error. Like it's a bug that's actually in the game. It's a programming error. So, you know how you guys you're supposed to collect fruits, right? So like at the bottom of the screen, there should be 7 fruits being displayed. Mm-hmm. The game on level 256 bugs out, and instead of displaying 7 fruits, it displays 256 fruits. And actually obscures the other half of the maze, so you can't even see what you're doing. So it's literally impossible to get past that level. There was a couple people that say they could actually do it, but when challenged to do it in person, they failed to do so. So it's pretty. I mean, I remember playing Pac-Man and seeing myself, this is ridiculously hard. I mean, I don't know about you guys. What do you guys think?
Justin also is a fan of Pac-Man. I'm a fan of Pac-Man as well. I had Miss Pac-Man on the Sega Genesis, and I used to play
I do too, yeah.
Do you have that too?
I do, I have it, yeah.
Yeah, I used to play that. I used to play that as a kid all the time, and it was annoying because, well, first off, it was fun, and then I like going to the settings and setting on like crazy mode where I think you can press like A or something, one of the buttons, and it makes you go super fast to where it actually shows Miss Pac-Man's hair, behind her, and it just made it a super fast mode to where it'd be more exciting and actually, more exciting to play. But and then you could set up the mazes differently. There's different settings like mini mode, and I think like there is large mazes you could do, and obviously there's difficulty and crazy mode, I think, for like actual mazes, not just like the gameplay. And the crazy mode of the mazes would just make the mazes really even more confusing.
Yeah.
But this also brings on to Justin's topic, one of the games he had on his list of a guilty pleasure. Might as well just classify as a guilty pleasure now. Pac-Man 2, which we were playing this morning. Go ahead and talk about Pac-Man 2.
Oh well, that's a different kind of game altogether though. It's like an adventure game like mixed with like Pac-Man, but you can actually play the Pac-Man game inside the game as well. You just you take them to do little certain errands and objectives in the game, and kind of use a slingshot to like
Here, face the microphone.
give him his like power pellet and shoot enemies with and point things out too. And it's always like going around saying like, look, look, look. And it's like,
Yeah, you keep
higher,
telling it,
higher, higher, all that stuff.
It's
I
really
mean,
funny because it was marketed as like an interactive cartoon, and it even says it on my box, because I have it on the Sega as well. And it's funny because basically you have to tell Pac-Man what to do, and you got to run him through like little errands and missions and stuff like
And,
Justin said.
he also has like different emotional, I guess, run throughs where he like breaks down and gets depressed or angry or I don't know, throws a fit, depending on what you do or you put him what situation you put him in.
Yeah, because if you hit him in the face with the slingshot, he gets really mad, which is pretty funny because he starts having a grumpy face, or he'll get depressed and not want to go do things.
Or when you pause the screen, he starts knocking on the screen, like seeing if you're there. Like sounds like he's knocking on a tube screen.
That's funny. I didn't see that yet. Okay. And that's pretty much what all you wanted to say about that game too.
And you can play the original one too. It's just you have to point them towards the arcade, and then you like have to hit the arcade machine with your slingshot.
That's pretty cool. All right. Do you have anything else to add on Pac-Man 2? Have you ever played it, Mike?
I've not played Pac-Man 2. I only played the original.
The original.
But Pac-Man, like these games, like even the original Pac-Man has just lasted through so many years. I remember, like at Target, I would probably say at least 7 years ago, they had like the little box with the joystick that all you had to do is just hook up to a power supply and the AV cables, and you could play Pac-Man right in your living room. It was just in a little box. I think it was like $15 at Target or Walmart and stuff. And to even play it like that, like it was just really cool to see like how that game has actually lasted through all these years. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. Did you ever
Still a big
see
staple.
the Xbox Live ones like Pac-Man Championship and how they pretty much have those? You
Yeah,
can buy them.
they had
They're so
that game
cool.
came out in '07. The
Yeah.
Pac-Man Championship.
And then they have like a deluxe edition or something too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I played them a little bit. They're really cool looking. And they're really addictive as well. All
Yeah.
right, what did you have anything else to add, Justin? You were gonna mention something else, I think, or did you forget?
No. I was just thinking of the one on the NES. Is that the one that you were mostly playing like that?
No.
Or the Atari?
No. Well, first off, I heard the Atari one was really bad. But I haven't really played it on the Nintendo or the Atari. I think like the Nintendo one's supposed to just be like the arcade though. All right, is that all we got to say about Pac-Man?
That's
then?
all we got for Pac-Man, man.
Okay. Now I'm going to mention a game that we've all played. It's on the Nintendo 64, and it is probably one of the worst games of all time for sure. Mike, I want you to take a guess of what game that is.
Probably Superman 64. That would probably be my guess.
Justin, what's your guess?
Yeah, I've seen reviews on it too, and yeah, it looks pretty much the worst to me as well.
All right, yes, that's the one we're going to talk about now. All right, Mike, I know you have a lot to spill about this game.
I remember playing this game when I was probably 10, maybe 12 years old in Michigan at my buddy's place. All right. And this is when the days where you could go to the video store and actually like rent games. And we went and we rented it and we brought it home and we went to go play it. And it was just barf on a screen. You can't understand what's going on. The buildings are so small. The graphics are just horrendous. They really are. and you have to fly through these rings. That's like this as soon as the game starts. It has some sort of promise as you're opening up to the credit screens, you know, and then you press the start button and then you get thrown into this. You're Superman. There's no teaching you how to fly. It doesn't tell you what to do other than go catch Lex Luthor, but you have to fly through his rings. Or it's just not a good game. Horrible game. Don't ever play it. In fact, it's hard pressed to find a video store or a game store nowadays that has it for anything over 99 cents.
Yeah,
It's probably the cheapest game you can ever find.
you usually find it laying around thrift stores and stuff a lot.
Yeah,
We
I think actually they will pay you to take it.
It should be that way.
They should.
My experience with the game, I have to share this too, because yours is hilarious too. But I rented it around the time it came out. You know, the cartoon show was great, and that's what it was based off of. And when I rented it, I thought it was going to be cool. I thought it looked interesting. I'm like, okay, playing as Superman on the 64 sounds pretty cool. Maybe I can fly around, do missions, and attack people, and, you know, save people and stuff. Well, I started playing it, and I ran into the ring thing. I'm thinking, this is impossible just to get past these rings. So I looked at the other modes, and I tried the multiplayer, and all the multiplayer is you're in vehicles. It has like nothing to do with Superman from what I remember. I'm like, okay, if I wanted to play a racing game, I'd go ahead and play Cruising USA because I have that game, and that game's multiplayer, and it's fun, and it's more fun on the one player. And then I played the training mode, and once I played the training mode, I was like, wow, this is actually value to play. Because there's one guy that consistently shoots at me, which obviously, since I'm Superman, this isn't going to do anything. I could sit here and watch him shoot at me, or I can go grab this car and throw it at him, or I can shoot my laser eyes at him, or I can freeze him. So I had all fun just attacking this one guy in a black suit that was consistently shooting at me. So every single time I'm in training mode, like I know you're supposed to go do the rings in training mode, but why would you want to do that when you automatically start doing the ring mission deal in the game?
Yeah.
Well, what happened was I would just go ahead, freeze the guy, and then I'd shoot him with lasers, and then he'd scream. And then I'd restart it again, and then I'd take the car and throw it at him, restart it again, fly into him, restart it again, find any other way I could just attack this one guy. And then that's all I did when I rented it the one time, was just attacking one person as Superman. I thought it was pretty funny.
And you know, looking back on some of the other N64 games that came out in those times, that you were expecting something better than what the game actually brought to you. Look at even one of the launch titles was Super Mario 64, Star Fox 64. Both, I mean, Zelda, let's be real, the Legends of Ocarina of Time, arguably one of the best games of all time. These games came out, you were expecting something when you saw a Superman game, you were expecting something awesome, and you didn't get that. So, what's next?
Let's see here. Justin, we have to talk about this game. All right, Mike, you're a fan of the Nintendo gun, right? What's the gun called again?
The Zapper.
The Zapper, thank
Scope.
you.
Oh, the Zapper.
Zapper.
I thought you meant the scope.
No, the Super Scope.
The
Super
Scope. Yeah,
The
that
Super
was for the
Scope
Super
is
Nintendo.
the Super Nintendo, and then the Menacer is the Genesis, and the Zapper is the Nintendo one. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, the best gun of all of those for gaming is probably the Zapper. Now, Justin, you remember the game To the Earth?
Yeah, that's a space shooter. So I mean, but yeah, it is extremely difficult as well. Hard to get past like any levels on that at all.
Now, Mike, if you don't have this game called To the Earth, you need to get it. If you ever come across it, it's a Zapper game, and it is super, super, super hard.
Yeah.
You instantly have spaceships flying past you really, really fast, and you got to shoot them like right on the second every single time, and it's so hard because they all hit you every single time they fly past you. Just think of the difficulty of Contra, but imagine that pretty much inputted in a space shooter with the Zapper.
Okay.
it's really that difficult. We can't even get past the first level anytime we've tried.
Yeah, much more fun just playing something like Duck Hunt, I guess. Aside
Well,
for that.
the funniest thing is it has this music come on when you turn on the game, and it says shoot the zapper, and you see like the world show up, like from an angle of the screen. And I'm just thinking every time I see it and it says shoot the zapper, I'm like, yeah, I might as well shoot the zapper at the world because the world's not going to be saved with how difficult this freaking game is. That's what I pretty much think about every time because it has this music going do 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 do. I'm just thinking, boom, the Earth should just be like disintegrated right there. So that's why the game's called To the Earth, I think, as well. So, Mike, go ahead and talk about Super Mario 2.
Yeah, Super Mario 2, for a little background story, in case y'all didn't know this, but Super Mario 2 came out in 1988 as the sequel to Super Mario Brothers. Um, North America actually, it came out in Japan, and North America wanted to obviously adopt it because everything comes out in Japan first. So North America started screening the game and found that it was way too difficult. So they actually watered it down. They had a project called Yume Kojo Doki Doki Panic, which they actually took and they rendered Mario characters over it and actually made that into the Mario that we know as Super Mario 2 today. So this game obviously is way different than any Mario game you ever have seen because it doesn't look anything like any of the Mario world from the first one that you saw, or even Super Mario 3 for that matter, as we keep going on in this series. But the US, it was such a hit here. Super Mario 2 was such a good hit in the US that they actually re-released it in Japan in 92 as Super Mario USA. So it's kind of funny that they actually released like two versions of Super Mario 2 pretty much to Japan.
I knew about that story too. I heard about it a little while ago. I don't know if Justin heard about it. Did you ever hear about that story, Justin?
I think I heard a little bit about that, but didn't really hear it as much, really.
You have
No.
Super Mario 2. Do you guys both have Super Mario 2?
Yeah, I
I
do.
have Super Mario 2 in the original Nintendo, and it's hard. It is hard, and you know I grew up with the Sega. I never really had a Nintendo, but my wife was really good, really big Nintendo. Her and her father were, and whenever when we got together, she's a Mario fanatic. You know, she's really good at video games anyway, but she's really good at Mario, and she cannot stand playing Super Mario 2. It is like she literally gets angry playing Super Mario 2, so she has to go play something
Yeah, I do
a
too.
little bit less difficult.
I try to play
And
it.
I think it's yeah, and I think it's funny that they dumbed it down and it's still super hard, you know.
Well, I know that the one that I don't know if you already said this, but the one that they were going to release did end up releasing on the Super Nintendo on the Super Mario All-Stars collection, and it's called Super Mario.
Yes.
What's the name of it again? Super Mario Lost Levels.
Yes, the Super Mario All-Stars also released on the Wii also. They also released it on the Wii.
That re-release annoyed me because I got it for my nieces, and there's a version of Super Mario All-Stars for Super Nintendo that also adds in Super Mario World. But you would think that if they're going to release Super Mario All-Stars on the Wii that they would have that version, and it doesn't. It just has the regular All-Stars version, and I'm thinking, what the heck? If it's on the Wii, you can add in Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo. I mean, how much more difficult is that to add?
Super Mario, just saying, Super Mario World was always one of my favorites growing up playing too.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, Super Mario World's amazing. It is a really good game, and I mean, I still have it. I have a good copy of it, and it's still a fun game to play. But all the Mario games were, you know. But Super Mario 2, extremely difficult. Definitely one of the hardest games that have come out in our time. And if you also look closely at Super Mario 2, a lot of the enemies that came out in Super Mario 2, which were really the enemies in Yume Kojo Doki Doki Panic, ended up actually adopting into Mario enemies, which would be like the Shy Kids, the red hood with the white face. and a few other small enemies that you'll see in the Mario games even now. So it's kind of cool. Little trivia for you guys there. So
I think it's funny because the lost levels is even harder overall.
so that was Super Mario 2. So yeah, definitely a difficult game. All right,
Let's see.
are we gonna roll right into the next one?
Yeah. Next one, Justin. Go ahead and talk about it because you played this for over an hour today. Ghost and Goblins.
Ghost and Goblins is sort of like a hard sort of side scroller, I'd say, like with a um
It's made by
I don't know.
Capcom.
Yeah, made by Capcom, but just run with your little guy and throw spears at basically zombies, I guess you'd say, and
What kind of character are you?
just a knight sort of guy with but he like loses his armor with like in the first 5 seconds if you get like hit by an enemy, so it's pretty difficult, but you have like sort of unlimited continues in it, so you can kind of like get through it pretty easily in that way.
Right, but they
It just throws a lot of challenges at you as
uh
you're going through it. So
And how far did you get today? You got like to the third level, I think.
I got I guess a little ways into it.
You got like, I think you got to the third level, and I tried playing it with you, and there's this part you couldn't get past, and then you handed me the controller, and I got you to like a checkpoint, and then after that you got stuck, and then you're giving up. You're like, screw it, I'm not gonna play this anymore. It's
Yeah,
enough for today.
the thing that I guess is kind of down bad with it is the jumping and I don't know, the consistent same song playing looping over and over, but the song's not bad, but it just gets annoying if after you hear it for a
It'll
while.
drive you insane, as if the game isn't already driving you insane.
Yeah.
Mike, have you ever played Ghosts and Goblins?
Um, Hands on, I don't think I ever have. But it's it definitely. I've watched reviews, I've seen the videos, and it definitely looks like a garbage pile of mess. But I mean, the game itself, I'm sure, is really fun when you're playing it. You just throw swords at demons and hope to hope to God you don't die. um, but I definitely am watching a video of this guy that beats it in 21 minutes and 7 seconds, which is crazy to even think about that he could beat this kind of a game in that short amount of time.
From what I know, you have to
So,
do a lot of jumping and throwing knives like
oh
consistently.
yeah. Oh yeah. So,
All right, Mike, we got to talk about Battletoads, and we also got to talk about Battletoads Double Dragon.
all right, let's do it, man. You start out with Battletoads. I'll
Have
cover
you
Double
played?
Dragon.
Have you played?
I played the original Battletoads, and I never really got into it because I never owned it
Right.
myself. But my cousins had it, and I played it at their house a couple times. Not a bad game, but yeah. What's your take?
Well, it's extremely hard. My neighbor down the street, you remember William? He had Battletoads, and I used to play it with him all the time. And we would always get up to the point with the bike race. Now, I thought it was funny that I actually spent time within the past year memorizing the bike race and actually getting past it. Now, I first would play it on, on my PSP. I'd play it a bunch, and then, because of save states and stuff. And then I actually tried playing it on the Nintendo here at Justin's about 4 or 5 months ago. And once I did that, I was like, holy cow. After practicing the same race over and over by save states and reloading it over and over, I actually managed to get past the race on my own on the actual Nintendo.
Yeah.
And I also found a secret warp you can get. If you hit a certain spot when you're dodging these walls that come at you, you can hit
Is
one.
that the ones when the guys are dropping it? The guys will like float above you and drop the wall.
Yeah,
also?
they'll drop them really, really fast, like right
Yeah,
at the end of the
right in
race.
front of you.
Right at the end of the race, there's one of those walls you can hit, and then it warps you up to from level 3 to level 5, which is really cool. Now, right now, I think with on my PSP being able to do save states and replay and everything, which is almost in a sense cheating though. I think I'm up to level 8 in Battletoads, which is like really, really crazy, and there's no way I'd ever get that far on the original Nintendo. There's no way. Now, Justin has tried playing Battletoads with me as well on the Nintendo and stuff, and every time Justin and I play it, it just doesn't work. It's a cool game that would be amazing as a multiplayer game, but since it is multiplayer, it's so difficult just to work teamwork wise because you got to jump too many things, you got to do everything way too fast. It's just way too much at one time for 2 people.
Your brains basically have to be linked together to know.
Right. Yeah, and it's just a pain, but I still love it because the music's cool, the style of it's awesome.
The one thing that I wish like the Sega one had is that the same pause menu be like
yeah,
that. That'd be
because
pretty cool.
I have it on the Genesis, and the Genesis, it's a little step higher, graphics and sound quality wise, but it doesn't have the pause menu of like the break beat that it has on the Nintendo. Like, they have like a hip hop beat every time you pause it.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense why that wouldn't have it because Sega usually does have like all the I don't know, some
Everything
cool
that
music.
everyone else has. Yeah.
Yeah, and Sega also usually has more of the attitude with their, with their sound chip and their music. Usually, they usually lean towards that way. All right, and Mike, you and I can talk about Battletoads Double Dragon. You go first.
Yes, we can. I could talk about Battletoads Double Dragon for a minute. This game, I put a few notes down. I didn't pull any like information other than it's a great game. You start it out, as soon as you hit the power button, you see the tradeway, and you goes right into the awesome music in the intro. It's just whenever you pop it in and you hear it, it just brings you back to your own childhood. And these are the kind of games that set apart games that you play every day now and games that you used to play every day when you were a kid, Difficulty is hard. It can be very, very tedious later on in some of the levels. But I can get through the entire first level and beat a Bobo without even getting touched. And then you can also do that in the level 2, with, Bragg's level.
You want to hear something really sad? Justin was trying to play it this morning on a Super Nintendo, and he got a continue on the first level.
Oh my god!
That's because I was trying to figure out the controls on it first because I wasn't.
The controls. I speak for the Genesis, of course, with this game. I don't have it on the Super Nintendo, but the Genesis had a 3-button controller system. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of moves in this game other than jump and punch, but the controls are. The Genesis controller. Let's all be honest. It wasn't the best controller design ever. I definitely like the feel of the Super Nintendo controller in my hand better than that. But the Ropes and Roper level. Let's talk about that one because you're choking blonde women and you're pulling their hair and beating them left and right. That in itself seems a little crazy that they wouldn't have slapped anything other than an E for everyone back in the day.
You pull them by their hair, which is more than likely obviously extensions.
And you're slamming them left and right into the ground until
you kick them literally in the rear
back.
repeatedly. And then you pull them from their hair, toss them over your shoulders 3 times. Yeah. Now, what I used to do was I used to go stand at the bottom of a corner. There was this corner that you could crouch down, and they would walk towards you, and I would just uppercut them with my fist over and over until they would leave me alone. And, speaking of which, these are blonde, buxom women with whips, okay? That's almost as bad as that's probably worse than the women in Streets of Rage with whips, because they have bigger boobs on here, and they're just more stereotypical attractive women.
Looking back when I was a kid, looking back on it now when I was a kid, I didn't obviously know the difference between anything, but looking back on it, I'm like, wow, I cannot believe that they let kids play this kind of stuff.
Right.
But the game itself, when you break it down, is a great, great game. It is. It's fun. The multiplayer experience in it, you have two different kinds. You have a co-op multiplayer on the same screen, and then you also have a co-op multiplayer on the same screen where you can hurt each other. Now that one sucks because if you both are trying to beat up on the same guy, you can't actually
Right.
beat up each other, and that gets a little frustrating when you're playing with someone else. So, but I got past Ropes and Roper one time when I was like 8 or 9, and I got past him, and then it throws you right into this space level, and you
You're
have
like, what
no
the heck
idea
is
what's
going
going
on?
on. You don't know any
And
of
then
the
it's just like,
controls.
boom, you're done. Game
Boom,
over.
you're done, and you already have one life. The other thing is it has a health bar, but the health bar is extremely doesn't do much. Yeah, it kind of does it a little bit, but you can get hooked in a loop with a bad guy really quick.
Well,
Meaning he can just beat you into submission pretty fast in this game.
honestly, I like the first Battletoads more for myself, but as a multiplayer, Battletoads Double Dragon is better, and it definitely
Oh
holds up
man,
better.
it's such a good multiplayer game.
But they're both equally as difficult. I'm pretty sure. Now
Yes,
you can
definitely
get a
both
little
equally
bit. You
difficult.
can get a little bit further in Battletoads Double Dragon though, but something I was gonna say earlier was when Justin was playing this, I was in the other room, and I was trying to set up, all the stuff so we could record today, and I can hear the music and stuff in the game, and then once he loses, I heard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I
The sound is a great.
yeah, the
the music
music's
and
amazing.
sound are
But here's the
great.
here's the point though. I heard that music. I'm like, did you just get to continue?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. I'm like, are you serious? In the first level.
It's a good soundtrack,
funny.
and you look back and you're like, some of the soundtracks now, you're just like, man, where are the good music
Yeah, I know. The music's amazing in that game. It's all addictive and everything.
Yeah, so that was a great game. Good multiplayer, solid game, difficulty pretty hard. If you haven't ever played it, check it out, and let us know what you guys think.
All right, Mike.
What
We're
do we
gonna
got next?
before we switch into another game. You gotta do You gotta do the first level music with me real quick, okay?
No, man, we don't got time for that.
Yeah, we do. Come on, one time. You do the guitar riff, okay? Yeah.
I don't even know what part you're on right now, but anyway.
That worked perfect. Okay.
What's the next game on the agenda?
Justin, go ahead and talk about Contra.
Contra. Well, I believe Mike knows quite a bit about Contra, right? You were just looking that up earlier.
Yeah, Contra is definitely one of those games that it will drive you. It will drive you to want to play it more and more.
It's a very fun game. It's just a very, very hard and difficult.
There's a guy that does a speed run on YouTube, and I want to say that he beats the whole game completely scot-free in 13 minutes.
It's a lot of
Which is
shooting, ducking.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So Contra on the regular Nintendo, graphics wise, there's a lot of copy and paste for some of the greenery in the background and stuff, but you play as this dude, you're just running around, you're shooting things. The cool thing about this game though, Justin, is that you could shoot diagonally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That was really cool that you could actually shoot beneath you, and now these people, a lot of games have enemies that are beneath you that will shoot at you that you can't actually hit, but this game actually changed that. Super Contra, even Contra 3, where on the Super Nintendo, you could jump around and you were a lot more nimble and the controls are a lot better. So they improved over time with the controls, but
Yep.
you run really slow in Contra 1.
Right.
I think the ability to lay down was really cool too. How you could go prone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's another thing that really helps because you gotta duck a lot, and I thought it was funny that you could lay down real fast.
And what do you think about the second level, Justin? When you actually running down that hallway?
Yeah, I thought that was very, I guess,
Very
innovative. It was difficult, but it was different.
But for
I mean,
the
it's
original
very,
Nintendo,
Yeah,
you
it was
know,
amazing, graphic
was-
wise
yeah, it
and all
kind of
that.
gave you
Pretty
that.
good.
Yeah, exactly. It was one of those things that they tried to make something different, and they did. And even today, the Contra following is huge.
I think-
A lot of guys still play
I
Contra
think
together.
Justin and I got past that second level together. It took us forever to get past it though.
yeah, we got past it. It's different, and it makes that game definitely unique and
Diverse,
stand out from any other games on the system.
especially running
Yeah,
guns.
but difficulty is there. It is definitely
Yeah.
one of those games that's going to keep you frustrated.
All right, Mike, go ahead and talk about Lion King.
All right, original Lion King movie. I have the cartridge somewhere. I know where it's at, but I'm not gonna go run and grab it. The Lion King. I mean, what can I say? It's one of those games that you have to play multiple times to get the swing of it. You have to die. It's a trial and error kind of game. You play as Simba, new and old, or young and old, and I believe Timon and Pumbaa on the bonus levels. The controls, Simba's controls are really touchy when you're jumping around. All right, basically, it's the whole movie. You're playing the movie. So you start out the first level. You're running around this jungle area near Pride Rock. You're jumping around on some rocks, and left and right. The enemies are really bland. You have an iguana that walks around that will hurt you if you touch it. Don't quite understand that. A porcupine, if you touch it, it will hurt you. That makes more sense. And a stink bug, like a blue stink bug that if you bounce on top of him, he'll spin around really fast and then blow up and hurt you. Kind of ridiculous. You have a health bar and you have a roar, or like a roar meter. Rawr.
Yeah.
A
Dude,
roar
I
meter.
stopped playing that game once I found
Does it
out
make
I
that
could
sound
roar.
like that? Does it actually?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really like because since you're a little
Literally.
kid, it's like rawr. It's
I-
really ridiculous.
I think I turned off the game when I first played it. After I saw that I could roar, I'm like, okay, cool, I can jump around. And I'm like, what does this button do? And then it goes, rawr. I'm like, okay,
So the
screw this
first-
game.
Yeah, so the first level when you're playing it, it gets a little. I mean, it's not really that frustrating, but once you get to the final boss of the first level, which it wouldn't even be really a boss, it's a hyena, and you just bounce on him twice, and he just runs out of breath and then falls to his knees, and then all of a sudden it switches to a cutscene where Simba's being born on Pride Rock when Mufasa says, "Everything the light touches is our kingdom." Which makes no sense because Simba's just being born, but you were just playing as him, so it makes no sense
I
at
think
all.
it's
that
just like a
cutscene.
recap or something.
But they use the real voices from the movie over into the Super Nintendo, so it's kind of cool to hear the movie quotes. The music is a complete adaptation of the actual soundtrack of Lion King, which is a amazing soundtrack. If you all don't even remember, or if you've never seen The Lion King and you're a sheltered child that's listening to a retro podcast,
Yeah.
the graphics pretty good, not bad. They're all right.
Pretty
The
decent, yeah.
second level, the level where he's singing "I Just Can't Wait to Be King." If you remember from the movie, it's all abstract and blue and yellow and purple and pink at sometimes. So they adapt that over to the level. And if you, like I said, you need to play it a couple times before you really kind of understand how to actually do some of the things in the level. But
The
what did you
controls
guys
pretty
think? What did you
difficult
guys
on
think about
there?
the?
Wait, hang on. Go, Justin.
How are the controls on there?
He's really touchy. Like you can, when you're jumping in air, you can control left and right, like where you're going to fall. So you almost try to second guess yourself when you're doing. There's a couple of parts where you have to platform jump from left and right, like on the top of giraffes' heads and stuff. But for the most part, I mean, 4 buttons, well, really 6 buttons, and the D-pad. You don't really ever use all 6 of them. There's a few different things, like you can roll. There's a couple levels where you have to use the roll feature that you have to learn and teach yourself. A lot of these games that came out when we were kids, they didn't tell you how to do anything when you started playing the game.
Or use like certain specials or something like that?
Or stuff like that. Like you never learned any of that, so you had to learn it all yourself. I was never a kid that read the instruction manuals, so I'm sure it taught you how to play the game in the instruction manuals, but I was never that kid. I was always the kid that just wanted to unwrap it, put it in, and play it. So
All right.
overall, though, Not a bad game. Not a bad game. My wife absolutely hates it because of the difficulty later on in it. She got really far, even past the elephant graveyard. I believe if that's correct. But she got pretty far in it, and she gave up on it.
Yeah, Lindsay likes the game, but I think she would give up on it too because it's so
Well,
hard.
the thing is that even on, all right, normal mode, just regular normal, start the game, whatever, you get 2 lives, and then you get 1 continue.
Mhm.
If you bump it down to easy mode, you get like something like 7 or 8 lives, and you get like 3 continues. It's like the software programmers knew how hard, the developers knew how hard the game was, and
They're like, good luck.
put it for easy mode. They're like, all right, we need to really give these kids something on easy mode if they can't play it.
Right. All right. Well, let's see here. The next game I want you to talk about that you and I are both going to talk about. We're going to talk about these games a little bit faster in summary. Batman Forever. Go.
Batman Forever, garbage. That's all I have to say about it.
Okay.
Seriously, that's the only note that I have written down for it. It is not a good game.
What would you say about the movie?
All right, the movie was pretty good.
Semi-garbage.
The movie was pretty good. I like Tommy Lee Jones, and I thought that a lot of people hated Jim Carrey as the Riddler, but I think he played a good Riddler.
Yeah, it was
It was a good
okay.
cartoony
He
Riddler.
did good, but his jokes in it were just kind of got annoying after a while.
That's
But
not him, though. That's the writers of the movie.
Joel Schumacher, thank you.
I guess Tommy Lee Jones was good. Good as the Two-Face, probably.
I thought he was.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought he was
good.
pretty good too.
Okay, all right. Anyways, I'll add one thing on Batman Forever. You and I both have it on Sega Genesis. Now, here's the problem with Batman Forever. Copy and paste of Mortal Kombat. The figures and
Yes.
the sprites and everything are the same. Now, you look at Mortal Kombat, you see the punching and the kicking and everything is identical to Batman Forever. I'm walking around.
Literally.
I remember playing this at some kid's house. I think it was some friend of mine, and he had it, and I was like, why does this look like Mortal Kombat? And I saw, it's like, I think Arena helped do it, and I think it was just Arena that helped do it. And the fighting, well, first off, the game's extremely hard. Second, the everything is identically copied and pasted, so it makes it less interesting because it's too much like Mortal Kombat, and it doesn't feel like Batman, and that kind of gets obnoxious. I mean, you basically almost get the same moves, even the uppercut. I mean, at least give me some,
Literally the exact same.
At least
They
give
really
me
just
some-
they took the same program and they just kind of masked it over with new graphics.
at least give me some smoke bombs or something.
Well, the thing is that they did have those. They had smoke
Oh, they
pellets.
did?
Now, remember you could actually choose an inventory. You had like 6 different items. Each person had 6 different items to choose from. But some of the levels, you didn't even need to use any of the items. Like it was a whole. The game almost tried to push itself too much with the use of gadgets and all that. I remember playing the game. I remember being extremely frustrated with that game. I actually don't even have it anymore. I don't even know where it went. I got my Sega collection back, and I really don't even know where it's at. And it can stay wherever it's at because I don't want it ever coming back through this door.
Right.
Real talk. I'm serious.
Yeah, it comes. Someone's like, "I found your Batman Forever copy. It says Mike on it," and you're gonna be like, "Get away from my house now."
I'll just destroy it.
Oh, thanks. Boom. All right.
Boom, right down on the ground.
All right. Next thing I want to talk about is, well, first off, we were talking about Musha and we were talking about Gyrus and Life Force and all that earlier before
Yeah.
we recorded. Now, here's the thing I'm going to say in short summary. Space shooters are hard. I
Very hard
couldn't
games.
name one space shooter that is easy besides one of them or several of them on Action 52 to where you don't die and you literally just hold the button to shoot. Besides
There are
that,
a few ones.
yeah, I couldn't really name any, but go ahead and talk about the space shooters that you want to talk about, Mike. In short summary.
Ultra Gyrus. I
actually
have it on the
it's-
original.
It's Gyrus. Ultra is the company that made it. I found that out. Ultra is the company that was under Konami.
Well, it's still Ultra's Gyrus then.
Well, that works too.
Anyway, Gyrus started out as, I believe it was an arcade game first, and they adapted it to the Nintendo. The original Nintendo, obviously, if you have an original Nintendo, you know that you have to have the secret passcode to play any game, which is the turning the power on and off, pressing the box up and down, trying to pull the cartridge in and out to try to get it perfect to to play the game.
We've done that so many times today.
My version of Gyrus is a little messed up, but it does not deter me from trying to play the game, and it is one of those extremely hard ones. Gyrus is the game where you actually have a 360-degree. You have to actually spin your spaceship around in a circle, and it's actually trying to simulate you flying forward. And it's not like a Musha or a side scroll.
Right.
It's not your typical one, and
It's
it's
kinda like
it's a
Tempest, I
difficult,
think.
very difficult game.
I think it's kind of like the game Tempest, which is like
Yes, exactly. It's
Yeah.
kind of exactly like Tempest, except it's in 8-bit, and it's very hard to see when half the screen is messed up sometimes.
yeah. All right.
That's all I really have for that one, though.
And I'll talk about Musha. First off, Musha is probably the rarest game I own. I have it on Sega Genesis, and I have the case too.
It is one of the most sought after Genesis games for sure.
I got it luckily for $10, and
That's a freaking steal.
and the sad thing is I bought the case for $50. So
Right.
technically, it's $60 on a game that's worth technically with the case it'd be worth about I think 150 or 200. Now,
Yeah, a lot of people are forking out like 175 to upwards to $300
Yeah.
for these things.
Anyways, Musha is a really cool game. I love it. The music's amazing. It's definitely one of my favorite games I have on the Sega. The problem is I think I can only get up to the second level because it's so hard. And it makes me want to keep playing it because the music is awesome and the sound is awesome. The sound is so cool that if I want to pause the game, there's a delay from the music after pausing it. Like literally you'll hear the delay of the aggressive hard guitars in the music or
Yeah.
the sounds, and it's really cool because I thought it was the TV at first. I was like, what happened to the TV? And then I just kept doing it and pressed start, and it kept doing it. I'm like, whoa, cool. So if I do this in slow motion, it'll sound really neat. Anyways, I love Musha. The graphics are amazing, but it's a super hard game. And I also have Robo Eliste, which is on the Sega CD, and that's basically the same thing. Not much to say differently. Better sound quality, different game, same gameplay.
Yeah.
Life Force, Justin, you can go ahead and talk about Life Force because that's a space shooter that you have on the Nintendo.
Yeah, Life Force is just like the side-scrolling like shooter like that, going up and down. I guess it's just only moving forward like that. I guess.
Well, you
and
go from left
and
to right.
Yeah, and progression.
Right.
Yes.
Where Musha is a bottom view one, kind of like Space Invaders type of style.
It's pretty difficult as well and hard to get through. Life Force. You played it a little bit. Before,
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah, it's a Konami game. Didn't I help find it for you, or I recommended it?
I think you actually got that for me as like a gift or something like that too.
Probably. Okay. Anyways, let's see. Let's talk about 2 Sega Genesis games that I have. Mike, you watched videos of them. Let's talk about, well, the first one, let's talk about Sword of Sodan.
Oh my God.
That's all you got to say, right?
That's all I can say with this game, man.
All right, so Sword of Sodan I have had for a while, and it is one of the worst Sega games I have, and I have a lot of Sega games. I think I
I
don't
was just
know how
gonna
many-
say, when you first showed me this game, I was just cracking up laughing, and I couldn't stop for like the longest time. It almost made me go to the bathroom.
Well,
it was pretty
here-
funny.
Here's the thing that's funny about Sword of Sodan. It's Electronic Arts that made it. Now, Electronic Arts has done great games back in the day, like Madden football. And
Those games were never good.
It was good at the time, Mike. Come on, it's good for that time. I mean, compared to
All
Tech
right,
Mobile, maybe not, but it's still good for the time.
I'm pretty sure EA made the urban series, Urban Jungle, Urban
Yeah,
City,
Desert
the
Strike,
helicopter flying games that
Desert
were
Strike,
impossible.
Urban Strike.
Strike, Urban Strike. That was
Yeah,
it.
all
Oh
those
my
games are
God.
hilarious too.
Games are
The
hilarious.
best thing about those games is you can shoot up the White House.
Yeah. Anyway, that was. Yeah. Anyway. Go ahead.
Sword of Sodan is on made by Electronic Arts, and you'd expect it to be a good game. And another one that's great is Road Rash, but yeah, I didn't get to that. So, okay. Sort of. So Dan, you can choose between a man and a woman, and the woman's stereotypical once again, and you basically have a sword, and you go ahead and poke people with the sword. You can swipe the sword if you hold up and, I think press the B button. You can swipe the sword, but you might as well just duck the whole time and just keep stabbing men in their crotch. And if you keep doing that, her head thrusts forward. And that's already awkward enough. And if you're hit by these guys, she makes a ah sound. And the other guys are going ooh, ooh. So all the sound effects are just really bizarre. The game's perverted as can be. And when you're moving as the woman, her boobs move up, down, by each step. Literally, I can walk slow and just keep tapping the right arrow to keep moving. And it's just obnoxious how perverted this game is. And if you think that's bad, when you get to the second part of the first level, I'm pretty sure it's the second part of the first level, you have spikes coming from the ground up to you. And then 2 spikes in a row going up towards you. And yeah, it's more perverted when you're playing as the female character. But when you play as the guy, it's still funny because the guy almost looks like he's trying to look like Jesus. Like they designed it to look like Jesus. And it's really funny because the picture, when you choose the guy, doesn't look like that at all. So you're thinking, wait, why am I this guy? I was trying to be this guy. And they just all make really funny sound effects. And later on in the game, if you go against harder enemies, you can actually decapitate the enemies. And it shows their heads come off clean and the blood and everything. So this game is really violent, but it's hilarious because of how bad the actual game is. The gameplay is just hard. It's difficult. The only thing I have to say good about this game, there's 2 things actually. One, you get potions, and you can mix them up to get different powers, which is exciting and worth playing for that reason. And 2, if you get far enough, there's a zombie level. And the zombie level is really neat because you got all these respawning zombies over and over, and it's actually more entertaining than fighting the guys. And they don't make annoying sound effects either. But otherwise the game pretty much sucks, and it's kind of a guilty pleasure game for me, but it's not that great of a game. Okay, and the other game we got to talk about is No Escape. Mike, your input on No Escape?
No Escape was, I don't really know much about the game other than it just really bland. Just didn't look that good of a game. It looked like it was pretty difficult to play and get through.
What I do know is it's based off of a movie with Ray Liotta. I know that much.
I watched one of the enemies that he was trying to kill, and he's literally sitting there and punching and punching and punching and punching this guy, and the guy has a weapon, and he's just completely destroying your health, and there's no way to defend. The fighting system is it's non-existent. You're just sitting there trying to punch this guy while he completely annihilates your health, and then when you do kill him, he drops no health whatsoever.
Now describe his weapon again. Because your description earlier was great.
Yeah, it looks like a big butter knife that's probably glued to a stick.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I got No Escape because I thought it looked kind of cool. I got it, and this is like, I don't know, probably 4 years ago. I got it. I turned it on. I'm like, okay, No Escape. The screen just says No Escape. And it says press start. Okay. I press start. Instantly the music starts. And you start walking, and then you start running, and all these enemies are after you. And I think I paused the game and fell to the floor laughing because I'm like, wow, this game, there literally is no escape. And I showed it to Justin. He said the same thing. There literally is no escape through the game. Justin, what's your input?
It was just like what you said. There's no escape. The game is pretty self-explanatory with that. I mean, as soon as you start off, the enemies are chasing you.
And the AI is terrible. Like, I can go step on a ledge, like, later on when I'm going through the level, and I jump on a ledge, and I climb it. All the guys are raising their bats looking at me like they're trying to get to me, but they're too dumb to even climb the ledge. And I'm thinking, really? I can just go ahead and crouch and punch these guys? And so I did that. Now, What's funny is after that boss fight that you were watching, you basically go through the same part again, but then after that you beat the actual level, and you actually can choose on a map where you go. Now the cool thing is you get different items through the game, and it gives you an item menu, and I guess you can use different weapons and stuff. But the game's so boring and bland that I don't even want to even try to get any farther. The only thing I have good to say about this game is the music's pretty interesting and sounds kind of cool, but that's about it. Mike, go ahead and talk about Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver for the Dreamcast.
Legacy of Kain. I don't even know where to start with this one. You start watching it, you open up the game. It has some really impressive CG cinematic parts that are even on par with any Square Enix Final Fantasy game that you can go out there and find. And you watch this man. I'm not even going to pretend to remember this dude's name in the game. Raphael, or I don't even know. He's an angel, and you're with these angel vampires. I don't even know, and they have wings. But you actually basically evolved and got your wings before the Vampire King did. So he stripped you of your wings and threw you into the abyss, which kills you. And then you become this jawless person, this lifeless being that you have to basically wander the underworld and try to regain your strength, I guess, is all what I can really think about that. The game, when you actually get your hands on it, you start playing it, nothing. No map, no idea where you're going, no clue on what you're even supposed to do. Nothing at all whatsoever. It just throws you in the middle of the game and you just wander around aimlessly. So I guess it's kind of realistic because he probably didn't know what to do next after all that happened.
Kind of get confused if we're going through all those portals and stuff like that in the game.
Yeah, you get super confused. There's some puzzle aspects of it that you can see that games like Prince of Persia maybe even took from when they remade that game on the original Xbox. They have a few different puzzles and stuff.
I remember playing
but for the most part,
the one on the original Xbox, I do remember playing that too. I guess Kain had some power where he just sucks the blood out of the enemies like that to regain health.
Yeah, that was Legacy of Kain. That was the
Kain.
third or second. I don't even remember which number in the series that was. But that was a game got some pretty decent reviews. That one did.
We did have the original one that's on the Sega Dreamcast.
Yeah, but
that's
you
the one that we're
had,
talking about.
Yeah, we haven't had a chance to play it yet. I'm supposed to.
If you want to pick it up, it's probably like $3.
Well, we have
at a good
We have it. I gotta let Justin borrow the Dreamcast again. So because we've pretty much been letting each other borrow the Dreamcast back and forth. So.
But that's all I want to spend on that game. What's next? What do we got? What do you want next?
Justin, talk about the Rocketeer for the Nintendo.
It's pretty much a horrible carbon copy of the Rolling Thunder on the NES. That's what I'd say. It's the worst version of that. It's you'd be better off playing Rolling Thunder.
And here's what's depressing. You think Rocketeer, oh cool, I can fly with the rocket jetpack and I can shoot people. No, you're ducking and jumping around and you're not even using a jetpack. And I was thinking, okay, well, this is kind of disappointing. I mean, I get this is on the NES, but can I at least have a jetpack? I mean, there's better games than this on the Nintendo that give you more things that you can do. Anyways, Rolling Thunder is a great game, and it's extremely difficult too, but yeah, it's better to play Rolling Thunder than
basically
Rocketeer.
Rocketeer just copied all over that.
Yeah, right. Let's see what else. Okay, guilty pleasures. Now we'll get into some of the guilty pleasure categories. Did you have anything else you wanted to mention of the hardest or worst games, Mike? I mean, you got Metroid, right?
Star Fox.
And Star Fox. Okay.
We'll just talk about the original Star Fox real quick.
Yep.
Ambitious graphics for the time. The controls that's actually pretty cool because the controls, there's actually 4 different control settings that the game actually allows you to choose from first. And it also shows your spaceship on the left while you choose the controls. So you can actually do the controls to see what's most comfortable for you. Mm-hmm. Pretty ambitious. I like that. but the graphics for what they were, for as ambitious as they were trying to be, were extremely hard to really kind of gain your bearings on what's up and down and left and right sometimes. Um, the game is trying to process so much at once that you actually even get a lag, which is kind of unheard of for cartridge video games. So that was kind of something that stood out to me as far as Star Fox. Music was excellent, but all in all, the N64 version of the game, which is Star Fox 64, is a complete, basically remastered version of this game,
And I remember,
and they do it excellently.
yeah, I remember Julian playing this like all the way through on the 64 like one night like that. He absolutely loves this game as well and wanted to get it from me as well.
Exactly, and you know the Star Fox 64, you could basically get through that game within 1 hour. That's pretty much like 1 hour of gameplay, and you could beat the entire game. That's just playing straight through, no pausing.
Yeah.
But you know, the Super Nintendo version it's something if you've never played it to try it, but it's literally copy and paste of the first game. There's 3 different level settings: easy, medium, and hard. You have these different control settings. And that's that. You know, the 64 version is just a very polished version of what they had tried to start. So that's all I really have on that one.
All right.
I don't know if you-
Go ahead and shortly talk about the Metroid games a little bit.
The Metroid games, they came out. You play as your protagonist or the lead character is Samus, is a bounty hunter. She is a female bounty hunter that wears space armor and has a gun for an arm, much like Mega Man. And it is an RPG. They are RPG games for the most part. It's an action RPG, I would say. You don't necessarily have potions and ethers like in a Final Fantasy game, but you do have energy that you have to obtain. The thing is, I want to touch on Super Metroid being a hard game because it is. It's a very difficult game. There is no real, unless you have the strategy guide or you watch a walkthrough, if you go to play the game by yourself, close-eyed for the first time, you are going to miss a lot of things. There are energy tanks hidden all over. There are missile tanks hidden all over, and these tanks increase your main capacity over time. So you can go through the whole game playing with the bare minimum if you don't know where you're going or where you're doing. Gameplay, 5 stars. Music, 5 stars. Everything else is amazing. The controls are great. The graphics are awesome and super cool for as old as it is. It came out in 1994. So we're talking a great game, even to go back and play right now. Save points are few and far between sometimes, so it makes it a little bit difficult if you have to go do something and you don't want to leave your system on. Having to backtrack after you've done so much takes a little bit of time. And then the low warning health is super annoying. If you can't find any health, it'll just sit there and whoop, 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 like all day.
Yeah.
So, but Super Metroid, great game. If you haven't ever played it, pick it up for the Super Nintendo. You're going to be hard pressed to find it for anything short of $45 nowadays. They just keep getting harder and harder to find for that game. So that's all I wanted to talk about with that one. On to Guilty Pleasures.
Yep. Guilty pleasures. We're just gonna talk about these really short. Here's the list that I have for games for myself. Pit Fighter is one game that I have that it's a really bad game, but it's so cheesy. It's awesome. You basically fight in a pit, going through each level, fighting different enemies, and it's 2-player, which is nice. Now, I have it obviously on the Genesis. On the Super Nintendo, it's not as good. It's for some reason zoomed in way too close, and the screen it's just kind of annoying zoomed in. Now, this game's cheesy because if you don't press anything when you turn it on, you get to a menu, or you can go to the start menu and go to the settings, or you can just leave it sit without pressing anything, and you get clips showing you each character, and it shows you pretty much arms pumping iron and identical wannabe Arnold's and martial art Bruce Lee characters and everything, and they all say yeah or hia every single time when it shows their name. and it's just downright hilarious. Now, the controls and the fighting, it's pretty cool because you can press A and B to pick up characters and throw them. You do A to punch and B to kick and C to jump, and then you press all three buttons, A, B, and C, to do like a special move. The difficulty's kind of hard, but not too bad, and I've beaten this game a few times. Now, Jam It is a game also that I have on Sega Genesis that's a really ghetto basketball game. Pretty much it's supposed to be like a street basketball game, and it's one-on-one. You get different kind of like play modes, and it's really funny because you can choose how much trash talking you can do in the settings. So they're all saying goofy things like "you're fouling, fool," and like "what's up, punk," and all that kind of stuff, which is really funny. And you can push people down and everything, and you can even, like, when you have the basketball, if you go to the stereo, you can change the music. There's not really much to say about this game. It's fun. The controls are decent. It's just a really cheesy game. It's hilarious. Mike, go ahead and talk about Super Battleship.
All right. I don't even know where to begin with this garbage pile of garbage truck juice. Super Battleship literally is a video game based on the hit board game Battleship. They throw in a couple of little different elements here and there where if you're actually within range to actually shoot one of your enemies, it'll actually cut to a little split screen where it shows you're in a naval battle. Now, I played this game. I don't even know why. I couldn't even tell you why. I was probably bored out of my mind, but I played it, and it's one of those games that you just keep playing. It's just I can't understand or explain it any more than that. It's just a guilty pleasure for me to play Super Battleship on the original Sega Genesis. You can probably find it for 50 cents. Just pick it up and try it. That's all I got on that.
Another one of my guilty pleasures, I have to say, is Action 52. Now, everyone talks about how bad this game is, and yes, it's terrible. I actually managed to get a copy for $40 on the Genesis. I ordered it through Vintage Stock, which is a local store here, and I think they have a few at different states too, but I ordered it, and it was the only copy that all of them had. The only one. And I got it, and I saw that it had ink on it, and I was like, oh man, well, I don't know if this is gonna eliminate the value or not, but I actually was able to get the ink off of it, and it's totally fine. And of course I have an only cartridge, but anyways, basically the game sold as $199 originally when it came out, and it was 52 games. And it's supposed to be a good deal, but it's 52 really bad games. All of them are glitchy. All of them are really short. All of them have their, problems individually. Some of them are multiplayer and everything. But the version between the Nintendo and the version between the Genesis are two different versions. The Nintendo one has space shooters more, while the one on the Genesis has more puzzle games. Now, of course, I have it on the Genesis, like I said. And the reason why I like this game so much is there's 52 really bad games, and they're all hilarious, and they all are rip-offs of different games usually. And like I said, they all have their bugs, and it's just a funny game because they all recycle the same sound effects of characters going, ah, and all that kind of stuff. And there's even a part in it, like a rip-off of Frogger, where you're a dog trying to cross the street, and it shows your dog, when you get ran over, it shows your dog crumble to pieces and blood and everything. And I was like, oh my gosh, really? And it's just really funny, like how they have that. And then there's a multiplayer game where you can play like tennis, but you're dinosaurs hitting a person as the ball, pretty much. And the dinosaur you play as looks like Barney the dinosaur, which is really funny. And it's purple and everything. Justin, have you played Action 52 a little bit with me?
Maybe a little bit. You're just making me think of like caveman games with the dinosaurs. Though.
Yeah, caveman games. Go ahead. That's one of your guilty pleasures too.
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily a bad game. I mean, it's. I guess it's kind of.
A lot of people classify it as a bad game. Yeah, but it's
kind of
really funny.
It's kind of funny too, and you can compete against in 2-player and like try to start a fire. See who gets to start the fire first, or ride dinosaurs and race each other on dinosaurs.
And you can do a mode called Mate Toss, where you toss your mate as far as possible.
Yeah, it's a pretty funny game.
And Mike, go ahead and talk about Revolution X.
Revolution X is it's an adaptation from an arcade shooter in the 90s, based around the band Aerosmith. Basically, the cast of Aerosmith, you're like searching for them, and you're shooting. The Genesis version just has you controlling a cursor, which is a crosshair, just shooting any and everything in sight. You're collecting gold and platinum albums, and you also get to shoot those albums as well. They do more damage. You find power-ups like smoothies and different bars and stuff. Kind of cool is you get to go through a strip club and shoot the cages off and free the strippers. So that's cage dancers. I mean, I thought that was even something like that for back in the day was, I mean, at a home console, a 10, 12-year-old kid playing that, but good game. Good game. I love to play it. I think it's fun as all hell to play it even today. So check it out if you've never played Revolution X. Definitely, I have beaten it. It is a little bit frustrating at times, but awesome game. Definitely horribly bad though at times. So next.
I'm going to talk about a game called Budokai, which is on the Sega Genesis. It's a game where you pretty much, I guess the back story is your person just found on the street, and kind of like a Karate Kid type of thing. It's trying to be like Karate Kid, but you learn different type of martial arts through a dojo, and it gives you a whole backstory talking about that you're found, and he's wanting to teach you martial arts and stuff, and the guy looks like, an old Asian person and stuff and everything. And anyways, you go to these different houses and you learn different ways of doing martial arts with swords and sticks and stuff, and I like it a lot because it's really funny, and it tells you what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong, but every single time you play it, you don't really know what the heck to do, and the controls are so weird and confusing because you don't really move forward or backward like you want to. Usually the D-pad just controls like how high you raise your sword and stuff, and you kind of got to press downward at an angle to move forward or backward, and it's kind of annoying because the controls are weird, but once you get used to it, it's still pretty fun, and it's really a funny game. Now I think that's pretty much it for the episode. We were gonna do trivia, but we're running out of time, but I do have a song I want to share for the closing song. Now this is a song from the video game called Kid Chameleon, which is on the Sega Genesis, one of my favorite Sega Genesis games. It's still another difficult game as well, but this is the options menu music from it. I like this music because it reminds me of Toe Jam and Earl, which of course we'll play more of that too.
And I told you it reminds me of like something of that horrible show.
Yeah.
Home Improvement.
Yeah, it sounds like Home Improvement, and I'll point out where it does when it gets to the point of it. Alright, so just keep listening here. So it pretty much jams out right here. Alright, keep listening. Like the Home Improvement show, it has that stupid voice that Tim Allen does. So Mike, thanks for being a guest on the show, Mike.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me, guys, and hope to do this again soon.
And my friend Mike here is not just a guest, he's going to be a member as well and do this show with us on a frequent basis. So that's the end of the episode. Like I said, next time we'll be doing the trivia stuff where we're just getting some questions together, and we'll explain how we do trivia by the next episode. But yeah, just stay tuned to episode 3. We don't have a topic picked out yet. We're just kind of going by ear on what we all talk about.
But if you guys might have something that you want us to review, please let us know.
Right, exactly. Let us know any games you want to talk about or any type of topics. we'll definitely discuss it. We want to get as many listeners as we can, and we have fun doing this. This is mainly a hobby for us, and we're also going to do our best to get on iTunes and Zune, and we also have a Twitter page, twitter.com/retrorelapsepod, I believe is the link. We have a facebook.com/the Retro Relapse Podcast. We're on retro relapse podcast.podomatic.com. That's our Podomatic link. And we are also on retrorelapsepodcast.blogspot.com as well. And we have our recordings on archive.org. You can look us up on there. And thank you very much for listening, and keep playing your favorite video games, and don't be embarrassed of liking games that suck. Justin, you want to say bye too?
Bye.
All right, see you later. Thanks.